All right. Late Night Volume 2.
Back again.
Live from District 9, as Will says.
District 13, the cold district.
Oh, I was thinking that you were talking about the Hunger Games.
I am. They were in District 13, right?
District 9.
You might be right. I don't know. I would have swore it was 13.
I got confirmation from the lady upstairs whenever.
Oh,
you said
okay.
that.
Okay.
I said confirmation. I got corrected.
I was on the verge of being, like the male Katniss Saturday and just saying, you know what, piss on the government.
Yeah.
I'm going anyway.
Yeah,
but I didn't. I was a good boy. Followed the law. I put my mask on like any good liberal would.
I told you what I'd have done.
Yeah, I know. I probably should have.
Yeah.
Truth be told.
Only good thing about Saturday, where it's so warm, I don't think they move too much on Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't get many pictures. I don't think I missed much, but it's the point. It's the principle.
Martin Luther King said, it's a moral just to disobey unjust laws or something like that.
Yeah,
that's right.
I can get behind that 100%.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, so for everybody listening, if you're close to the area, you know about the national forest closure that took place last week. Started after hurricane came through parts of northeast Tennessee, northwest North Carolina, a little bit of the southern part of Virginia into, Carroll County.
I think Carroll and maybe Smith County a little bit.
Washington County got some, but
yeah.
Our area was virtually unaffected with the exception of trees down and some power lines down. The town of Wise that floods usually pretty regularly. When you get something like that, there was really no substantial flooding or anything.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't hardly any flooding at all. It was just the lot of rain and then the heavy winds after uprooted a lot of trees.
Yeah. So the Forest Service decided to put out a blanket closure and close all of Jefferson and George Washington National Forest.
To everything, including foot traffic.
Foot traffic. Yeah. And so they closed the Mount Rogers District and the Clinch Mountain District, or Clinch Ranger District. And that the Clinch Ranger District is where we're at. But like I said, we were virtually unaffected. No increased risk of going into the woods after it was over with. But did a lot of reaching out to people. Everybody did. Got some people to reverse that. And the scary part was, for me anyway, is that the initial statement was it was going to be closed for a solid year to no foot traffic or anything. Which is, wow. I mean, and I told you and I told a bunch of other people, my opinion was it was a very lazy decision. And
knee-jerk too.
Yeah, and I say lazy because, like over where you're at, Will, the forest wasn't impacted. I'd say
hardly at all.
There was very little road, and the roads you use to access the forest over there are state and county highways.
The road that I live on runs directly through the Jefferson National Forest. I mean, a large portion of it, right?
Yeah.
There were, on Friday, the day of the storm, there was 2 trees down that were cut out before the state ever got there. Like, people live down in here that went and cut them out and pulled them around with their trucks and stuff, As a matter of fact, the Saturday after the storm on Friday, Dad and I went in there and checked a few cameras and hung our stands for the following Saturday.
So what blew my mind is they didn't close it for youth season the weekend the hurricane hit. Because
the day after.
His son over here and was hunting all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and they didn't think to close it then.
Right. And why? Like Zach said, I mean, it was a lazy decision by an uninformed person or group of people that clearly, I mean, naturally they're not hunters. I wouldn't imagine.
No, I hear trees fall every year while I'm in the stand. Trees
Right.
are always falling. That's just normal. Like, don't sit up in a rotten tree or underneath one. I mean,
right.
I've been
taught that since I was a kid. Just even hunting off the ground. You look for overhead hazards. Mm-hmm. It's just part of being in the woods. So I don't know. It blew my mind. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw that story I posted yesterday, but it was kind of smart aleck, but like I really was devastated. Like it bothered me to think that we were going back to a time. I felt like those first few days of COVID did. Yeah. You remember when they started shutting everything down? That's how it felt to me, because I've got a couple 100 acres, maybe, more. If you add it all up, I've got a fair amount of private that I can hunt, right? But I rely on that national forest. Mm-hmm. That's primarily what I hunt, and to have it taken away 2 days before season started, it was tough just mentally. And I'm not a mental person. I let stuff roll off my back big time, but like just having all the plans and putting the work in that I put in the summer to get the intel that I had, and hours and hours of time, and just boom, overnight, it was gone.
And the reason I think it was a lazy decision, and I agree, and I'll be the first to tell you, there are probably parts of the Forest Service on the highway that would definitely need to be closed. I get that. So instead of doing a blanket closure, put some people on the ground and say, this route's closed from this point to this point until we get the trees cleared up.
Yeah, even the back roads. Like, even if you say, hey, we're going to close some of this to vehicle traffic, foot traffic's welcome, bicycle traffic's welcome. Do your normal thing hunting, but like, because there's some big deep roads we got in the national forest around here. I use a lot of them and everything else. And I would even understand that if they're like, hey, we're going to close this gate because it's just, we don't want somebody getting down there and getting stuck, and then we can rescue them and all that. Okay, cool, but
I think everybody would have understood that,
Yeah, if you're willing to walk. One of the where I killed that buck was a place that was closed, and I'd been down in there, 5+ miles after, so.
And that's, I think that's something that some people, even, I noticed after you posted your story, Will, I usually don't read the negative comments, but I read the guy sent us a message, and I try not to look into it too much because it came from I don't think he was getting what we were saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Because some people got out and cleared the roads, and we're very thankful for those people. We cleared the roads.
Absolutely.
We were out clearing the roads too. But that isn't what we're saying. We were more upset about, unaffected areas being closed.
Right. Yeah. And that's what, I got a buddy that works for the Forest Service, and he was telling me that, like, Maples Gap, for instance, and I'm not dropping a place, just a place here in the county. He said that place was completely decimated. There's acres and acres of timber that's down. And so shutting a place like that down to vehicle traffic, 100% do it. If the roads are blocked and you can't get a vehicle through there, do it. But I think the vast, vast majority of hunters are conscious enough to look around them and see what's going on to stay out of the way of those widowmakers and stuff.
Yeah, well, they don't even realize the area that they shut down too. We're probably the most resilient part of the state.
Right.
We're right in the heart of Appalachians. Like, my road comes right through national forest as well to get to my house, and there was over 20 trees between my house and town that was down the day of the storm, or the day, whenever the trees started falling.
Yeah.
Went out to get fuel for the generator, and then I had to cut 4 trees to get home to go back to work.
Right.
Just because we get gas. But that's the thing is like, why can't I walk? You know what I mean? Like, why can't I park on the side of the road and walk? Like, that part doesn't make sense. So, because there's no roads back here, that you're allowed to drive on. It's all foot traffic anyway.
Right.
So I'll say, like I said when we started, I agree 100%. There are probably some roads that needed to be closed down. Maples Gap being one of them, because like I said, it may still be impassable right now. But don't issue a blanket statement just because you don't put the time and effort in to put people in there to see what needs to be shut down.
Well, I mean, I hunt almost the exact opposite end of the county, right? And so I'm, probably an hour, maybe a little longer from Maples Gap itself.
Yeah.
There's no more down here than what would normally occur during a bad storm. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it was like just a normal bad storm. Like, really, there wasn't. I didn't walk through the woods like in total awe of the trees down. Like, there were some trees down, some trees that were either older. I saw a lot of broken trees that like had bad spots in them, and they were breaking that bad spot. And then some trees that had tried to root on rocks, right? And so, the stronger trees here, the healthy trees here around my house were fine. I didn't have a single tree down on my property.
Yeah,
like
I
none.
didn't either. Had branches.
I don't know if it's where I'm on the side of this mountain or whatever, but we had quite a bit down over here, but it was 99%. If it wasn't a bad tree, like you said, a bad spot in it, it was, it seems like 90% of them are red oaks. I don't know if the root system's weaker or what, but it's like almost every one I've had to crawl over now has been red oaks.
Huh.
And we got hit, like I said, but we're on the top of this mountain too, though, so the wind whips through here pretty rough.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of caused it, because I'm at the top of the mountain on this end of the county.
Yeah.
But we're very thankful for those that spoke up, sent letters, signed petitions, and also the people who cleared the roads.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Of them. I know it's hard for people that are not from around here to understand, but a lot of times you've got people around here getting out and taking care of that stuff before the government agencies are.
Yeah.
And
I mean, hell, if we relied on government agencies, we'd have been gone a long time ago. I mean, that's just exactly right. Like you said, as Appalachians, that's I mean, we just don't rely. We rely on our own,
Yeah.
And I think that's, I guess, it's a unique thing about this place and this area, and you're seeing it right now in some of the more decimated places from the storm. I mean, you look at down there around Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee. There, like, the people are doing the vast majority of the work, and I don't want to get into any kind of conspiracy theories or what I don't know what's going on down there exactly, but I've seen the videos of the people bringing equipment in there and working, building roads back.
Yeah.
That's not the government doing that. That's Joe down the road here that's got a dozer,
Yeah.
And the private citizens with helicopters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're taking stuff in there, and bless them guys, man, because it's no easy task. But we're praying for those people down there. Hopefully they get everything squared away. That's a tough bunch. So
yeah, that it really hits close to home for me, because I mean, what was it, 2 years ago we had that over here? I mean, just totally decimated Eastern Kentucky, and
no national forest closure though.
No, we didn't have a closure. But
I'll also say that that we've had a lot of things happen in the forest here that probably would have justified a closure of areas. It's never happened.
Right, never. It was completely unprecedented.
And I told a few people, Will, when we've been out west a few times where there's been active forest fires, and they don't shut down a whole district because the forest is on fire.
Right, it's just that area.
A massive forest fire, they shut down the area, and not the whole district. So.
And another thing that's crazy about that is when it's over, when they contain the fire, they open it back up, like within days. It's not like it stays closed for a year.
Right.
And I'm like, when it came out that way, to everything.
Why fishing? Like, I'm worried about a tree falling on me when I'm on a boat.
That and so there's a guy that works with Zach and I at the office, and he worked for the Forest Service for 20 plus years. And I talked to him about this, and he's worked all over the country. Most of his career was spent here, and he even said that, in my entire career, I've never seen the Forest Service shut down an entire district because of something like that. So, but I digress.
Yeah, it's over with now.
Yeah, thankfully, like you said, it took a collective effort. And I'm sure y'all had the same thing. People were texting me, calling me, like trying to figure out, what was going on, what the rules were, and this and that and the other. And I'm like, guys, I know about the same thing. I'm reading the same thing y'all are,
Yeah.
But luckily, I guess we, I won't say we got a big platform, but we got enough platform to kind of connect with some people and figure out what was going on and kind of start working on a solution.
The Appalachia Homestead did a fantastic job.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
They did.
Yeah, they knocked it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, if not for them, we would probably still be sitting here talking about a closure and complaining and griping about a closure.
And they're from up north, right? North Virginia. They come down here a lot to hike and stuff, but ain't they based out of more up northern Virginia?
No, they're.
I think they're local.
They're local.
Okay, there's a different one. Then I'm thinking.
Yeah.
There was a different one that was fired up about it too. It was, I think, the Homestead in the name, and they're from up north, and they were calling people too.
The podcast I listened to was what was that called? District of Conservation.
Yeah.
They were on that. I don't know if you've listened to it. It's a good listen. I mean, it's only like 35 minutes.
Yeah, that one. The District of Conservation is based out of, I think, around DC or something. But
yeah, somewhere in that area.
Okay.
They along with the Appalachia Homestead were very instrumental in getting Nick Freitas down here. Who isn't even from this area. Is not a delegate for this area, but was very concerned about what had happened and was good enough to take the time to come down, check it out, and is going to take the necessary steps to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty sweet dude. He's cool. He's got got an awesome background and everything too. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving in. So we are on. Let's see what it's still Thursday. So day 5 of the opening week of bow season, and figured we'd go around and talk about how this first week has been, what everybody's seeing, not seeing, what cameras are doing, and Will, you hunted a little bit opening day, morning too. So tell us about your first sit.
Well, we're kind of talking about it, I guess, before we got on here, but the when the closure came on Thursday, I was, dead in the water. I had nothing on private, no cameras, no intel, no nothing. Like I said, luckily I've got, a couple 100 acres around that I can hunt. And so, I went back here on my neighbor's property and, hunted it and usually it's a good spot for a doe. And I thought, well, I've got these bucks on camera here and there and yonder, but, since I'm kind of stuck to this place for now, I think I'm just going to go ahead and kill me a couple does while this is going on. And believe it or not, I didn't see a single deer. I got in there Friday, and probably spent a couple hours, I guess, just walking the ridges and looking for sign, and found, a place that, historically deer use the heck out of. And there was white and red oaks both dropping acorns. I found, feeding sign, plenty of spit holes and stuff. And I thought, well, shoot, right here, I can ambush the heck out of a doe in the morning.
Right.
And just, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but for whatever reason, they didn't walk down that ridge that morning. And then the only other time I've sat, was yesterday morning. And now that we could get back on National Forest, I'd been getting some pictures, at a spot on National Forest. It's pretty close. I didn't have a whole lot of time yesterday morning, so I wanted to make it a pretty quick place to get into and get out of and all that.
Yeah.
But going in, I blew a bunch of deer out of there, which they were, it's a real heavy feeding point, and so I was afraid of that. But I thought, well, I can get up quiet and quick, and they'll come back. And I didn't see I didn't see a single deer. I did find some good sign, some new sign that wasn't there the last time I was in there. So there's some promise there, but just nothing working out yesterday morning.
Now, was today your first? No, you went on opening day too, didn't you? church.
Yeah, I did. I didn't. I'm like, well, I don't know if it was because it's so hot and just a week after that storm or what, but it was dead. I didn't see a deer. I seen actually 2 bucks on the way out that were under a headlamp, and one good, probably 8-pointer, and then probably a little basket rack 6 or something, which also told me that they might still be a little bit bachelored up in the area I'm at. So, because they were standing right next to each other.
Yeah.
But I seen them, so luckily I know that there are some deer alive after the storm. But I sat yesterday morning until it was right at noon, and didn't see a deer. Thought I heard some, but never seen anything. Seen a bunch of squirrel. I had to run from a skunk yesterday morning.
Oof.
We were trying to go to the same spot, and I was trying to get ahead of him. And I was literally sprinting with my tree stand and my bow, trying to get ahead of him because he was like zigzagging in front of me. It was awful. And
how big a cover sand anyway?
At least something.
Cover sand. I'd sleep in the yard and wipe it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'd be sleeping with the chickens. No, and then I checked one of my other cameras since I could go back on National Forest, and I had 2 good bucks that I think one's a survivor from last year, and then, well, both are obviously, but one I'm 99% sure I had him on camera last year, and actually had an encounter with him if it is the same deer. And another deer, I haven't compared my last year's pictures to see if his antlers are similar, just a little bit different, but he's a pretty big 8, and he's on a community scrape. And I roughed it up and peed in it, and then I went back there this evening and hunted in a little different spot because it's rare that I get a north wind on that spot, and that's kind of what I need because I think they bed down in the bottom below the scrape because the wind blows. Normally we get southwest winds. I think they do that because the thermals will drop and then the wind will blow the scent down in there, so they know not to come out if something's up there. But I went in and I only had I knew because it's about an hour walk. With me boogieing, it's a little over 2 miles back, and so we got down there and I was climbing across a big red oak that had fell, and I heard something and looked up and there was a bear behind a bush, and I drew back on him, and then he wouldn't step out on either side of that big bush, but I could see him. He knew something was there, but he couldn't tell what it was, and then I think he figured something out and he just kind of scurried off behind that bush where I never got a shot. Got down there and set up. I only had about an hour, maybe hour 15, and I know one doe, I think 2 deer come out. I don't know if the other one was a buck or not, but a good-sized doe come out, and I was sitting on that scrape. She come out like 60 yards to my right on the other side of some blowdowns. I'm not sure. I might have to get over and scout because I didn't know they come out that side because I know they come out that little spot. And then I ended up having one deer work its way all the way right behind me, even with the north wind, but I was only 2 sticks high, but I think my wind was just enough to go over top of them, and I could hear him breathing and eating acorns. But it was close enough for me to hear it breathing, so I thought that was pretty sweet, but I couldn't move to see what it was. I know it was going to walk out in front of me, but at least there are some deer alive, and got to have some encounters today and get close, and it's nice. I'm learning every time because I'm not the most experienced here, so for sure. So just getting close to them in general is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool when they're close enough you can hear them crunching acorns, ain't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's different, or hear they do that little sneeze thing. First person I ever heard talk about was T-Bone Turner. But I've heard it myself in the woods, they kind of, it's like a sound that they do sometimes, But I've had them close like that, and you hear, we talked about this last time on the podcast, just getting them close and watching their movements and watching their mannerisms and the little ticks, little things that they do, it's pretty amazing. And you really only get it bow hunting. Most gun hunters never see stuff like that.
No, because you're going to shoot at a good deer. As soon as you get a good deer in the sights, you're shooting at it before you even see how it walks or does whatever.
Yep.
And I've learned more from bow hunting, just learning how they use the land and everything else and getting that close to them. And then, like I said, just learning every time and learning how to beat, because you can't beat the nose, but you can't trick the nose, but you got to beat the wind, So
right.
Learning how to do that. And then getting out of there, though, I had to wait like 30 minutes after dark, and I heard it finally move off. And I turned my light on, and I was trying to get my bow down, and it blew at me, and it was probably about 80, 100 yards away, and I just started blowing back at it and hoping it was going to think I was another deer because it probably just seen or heard something.
That's a pretty good tactic. I like that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, just in hopes that I've tried to howl at them before. I had one under my stand one time on my another piece, and it was literally like 10 yards from the stand, and I was trying to I howled like a coyote, and it looked up at me and just stared at me.
Golly.
I just blew back at them in hopes that they think it was just another deer moving around, and maybe I didn't booger that spot up too bad, so we'll go back and hit it and see what's going on.
I'm good.
I've always felt like that if they don't like bust your stand, you're probably gonna get shot. I've thrown pop bottles out of the tree and everything, trying to get them to move.
No, that's what I was hoping for, because I just don't want to see a human climb down and be like, what? I was eating right there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping, that they didn't. I didn't booger them up too bad, but I'm gonna move over a little bit, and because I like that scrape, because I got them deer on that scrape, but I'm gonna move over and see if I can catch them on that trail coming out.
Right.
Yeah. The opening day for me and Tyler hunted together, a same spot, but I think we ended up seeing 8 or 9 does that morning, or 8 or 9 deer, a couple button bucks. One doe, she can count her lucky stars, because I mean, if she had been by herself for another 3 seconds, I probably would have felt bad after it. But so she came out a little bit after daylight. Well, probably about 8:30, 8:45. Watched her for a minute, and then I was studying her real hard to see if she had look like a mama. She didn't look like a mama to me, but then two little deer came out, and I was pulled up the binos to look at them, and both of them had little nubs on their forehead, and one of them actually went to try to nurse on her. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, she's getting a pass today. Yeah. Tyler had several deer sneak up behind him. He had them. They come in pretty close on him. Just caught him in a tough spot where he couldn't get his bow out. I think we only hunted half a day that day because it got warm that evening. Yeah. The camera slowed down a lot up there in that spot. It's pretty much like we call it a doe hole because it's loaded with does. But we didn't get any pictures that day. And I didn't hunt again until Tuesday evening. And I was really interested in going in there because I hadn't checked any cameras in a while. I had a stand on this ridge or a spur, and I actually moved it back in probably first or second week of September, and then after I moved it, all the red oaks started falling like crazy in there, of course. So I took my saddle in there and hunted Tuesday evening or afternoon. Got in the woods about 3. Was in the tree about 3:30. I went and pulled a SD card out and was checking it as I was sitting in the tree, and I was overwhelmed by the amount of bear pictures on it. Yeah. I mean, they were just laying in there raking those. I've got a video of one that's sitting on his butt, and he's kind of just raking a pile of acorns in front of him, and he was sitting there just chewing on them. So I had a pretty good idea after looking. I think I had that camera set on video mode, and I had probably 75 or 80 bear videos within a week.
Good Lord.
So I said, well, I probably will see a bear today. Yeah. And it was real weird how he acted, but I'd actually just sent Dino and Ryan Phillips both a text and said, I'm about 90% sure I'll see a bear in here today. And I put my phone back down and looked over my left shoulder, and I seen one that was about 200 yards walking down a logging road. I said, no kidding. I'd actually texted Dean after I checked the pictures, and I said, hey, if I shoot a bear in here, are you good to come help me get it out? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So I looked at it, watched it, and this is what's crazy to me. I've never seen one act like this. Scent control was great. I put my clothes on after I got out of the truck, sprayed down with cover scent, sprayed everything down. Got in the tree, set my stand up for the wind was perfect for this spot, coming for where I thought the deer would come from their bedding to get to that acorn flat right there. But it was blowing right at the bear. So I was watching him with my binos, and about the time he got directly, I guess, in my wind tunnel, he done like a buck or a doe would do, and he kind of started shaking his head around, and you could tell he was doing something with his nose. Well, man, he turned on a dime and took off running down the hill toward where I was at. And I mean, just to show you how, I mean, it was almost like a gobbler coming into a call. He ran, and you can see it on the GoPro video. He ran right he was coming right to my tree until he looked up and seen something in there.
Wow.
He kind of stopped for a second. He stopped at about 8 or 10 yards and kind of looked up at me for a minute. And then I drew back on him, and he scurried up the hill just maybe 5 or 6 more yards, and stood behind a red oak. Seemed like a long time. It was 1 minute and 46 seconds. I was at full draw.
You were at draw forever.
Props to the Matthews, buddy, because it felt like I was just holding air back. I wasn't hurting or nothing, but and this is talk about sounds. This is the first time I've heard bears woof at you before. I've heard them pop their teeth and stuff. I don't know if I told you about this, Will. I told Dean and Tyler, but that bear, I don't think he could. Their eyesight's not great. I think he knew something was in the tree.
Yeah.
But he was looking in my direction, and he kind of facing toward me just a fuzz, and he started doing it's like a whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'd never seen one do that before.
Like a growl type something, maybe a little bit.
But it was real low. I mean, it wasn't real loud at all. I don't know. I have no idea what it was. I'll try to figure that out. But finally, I just was like, man, you take one more step with your right shoulder, and then popped him. He ran 40 yards and piled up. So that's one less cell cam assassin out there in the woods. And he was that bear right there has gave me fits, because it seems like every camera that I had that was far enough away to where it took a lot of effort to get in there and check, he was going back in there and jacking them up. So he had no remorse at all for pulling the trigger on that dude.
That's what Zach Robb did last year in his whitetail addictions video. He was mad because one of his cameras was busted up, and that day he seen the bear, so he smoked it.
Yeah.
He shot his butt a few minutes later.
They're tasty too.
Yeah. Well, this one too, and this one was far enough away for I knew it wasn't a trash bear. We confirmed it wasn't a trash bear. So, luckily, it could have went one or two ways there. If he'd have ran off the right side of that ridge, I'd probably still be in there trying to get him out. But he ran left-handed up to the logging road he came from, and it was about almost all downhill. So that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Glad to get him out of there for sure. I don't know if him being in there was affecting the deer, because the deer were still showing up just every day that he was.
Honestly, I don't think it does, because I had that one that just today, he was walking up the finger, because I go down a finger ridge, and then like I said, it's right before it drops off down to the bluff, and he was walking up out of there. I got him on my camera, and I've got him messing with my camera. I got a picture of just the tops of the trees, because he was up on the tree mangling it up. Luckily he didn't destroy it. And he was walking out of literally where I was going in at, and then the deer still come out, tonight. They come out in a different spot, and I thought they would, but I mean, it was still within 40 yards, not 40, but within 100 yards. He run right back down in there too. I don't know exactly where he went.
The only time I've ever, and I've seen this one time, and this was, I know I told Will about this, but I think this was, if it wasn't last year, it was the year before, that same property, and there I was hunting, and I was hunting above a bedding area, and a buck come busting out of the bedding area, and this is probably toward the end of November or October, and I thought, oh man, this is good. Something's run him out. Right. Well, it was a black bear that had chased him out of that bedding area, and he chased him up onto that flat, and was still chasing him until I whistled. I was whistling trying to stop him, but when I whistled, it freaked the bear out more than anything, and he couldn't figure out what it was. He stopped chasing the deer, was looking on the ground, and was just running all over the place. And he stopped at like 25 yards behind a tree. I couldn't get a shot at him. But I'd never seen a bear chase a deer before.
That 7-point, I said that chocolate horn 7-point that I think I got back this year on camera, he when I had an encounter with him last year, a bear chased him out of the bedding area, exact same scenario. And I had a stick in my hand. I was going in for an evening hunt in the thicket, and I had one stick in my hand. I heard something running, and I turned around, didn't even have time to set it down, and that buck was standing looking at me at 20 yards. And I just froze with him for a second, and I just tossed the stick down and grabbed and I could see the bear just barely over the rise of the hill. I could see the black. Yeah. And I just set my stick down and tried to grab my bow, and then when I done that, the deer took off, and the bear just sat over, fiddle farting around. And then I knocked an arrow and walked over to him, and if he would have sat still long enough, I was going to shoot him too. Because that deer probably would have walked up there to that thicket that night.
Yeah.
But that bear running right in
there.
Same scenario.
I don't know why they do that. I don't know if I know last year in there wasn't a lot of acorns in the woods. I don't know if that has anything. I don't know if he was trying to kill the deer or what was going on. If he was just running it out of the area.
They got to know they can't catch them things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, bear ain't. I mean, they're fast, but they ain't that fast.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I mean, but he wasn't too far behind that thing. I think he just bumped it out of its bed and took off after it. But yeah, it was real weird. But anyhow, so we got some bear meat in the fridge, and looking forward to. We're probably just grind it on to burger and sausage and keep a few steaks out of it. But it was really fun to finally shoot something with the lift, and man, it absolutely, dude. I've switched arrows so many times this year. I hunted on Saturday. I hunted Saturday with a 4mm Easton, and I went back to those victories and just got a lot more speed out of them, man. And it torched that thing.
Yeah.
Those. I know y'all both are shooting fixed blades, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know Will is. I can't get him on board with the expandables.
I'll probably never shoot an expandable again.
I will tell you this: I shot that bear with that Sever. It blew completely. Shot a perfect hole through the shoulder blade and busted through 2 ribs, and was still razor sharp. So I was pretty impressed with that.
I like my iron wheels, man.
Yeah, that's what I was shooting on Saturday, and then I switched it up.
Yeah,
which I
got one of the Lone Wolf arrowheads. They're aluminum ones.
Yeah.
And it was like I ordered something, and after you pay for everything, it's like add this to your order, whatever, for $10. And I was like, well, that's one. And I was like, can I click 3? And I clicked 3, and it still said $10. So I tried to get one over, and it sent me one. But I got one for $10. I shot it at the target at 40. I mean, it shoots just like the iron wheels. I mean, it shoots straight on.
Yeah.
And I actually missed it once. Missed my target. Then I got a horse stall mat hanging behind it to catch field tip arrows when I get people sighting in down here. And it was my fault. I just jerked on the shot, and it zipped right through that freaking horse stall mat. It's like a half-inch horse stall mat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still good. I mean, it's still good broadhead. I mean, even though it's aluminum, so
right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I was real curious about how they'd perform, so that's good to hear. Go ahead.
I've been knocking my iron wheel, because they're just tried and true. But I've been knocking them in when I'm actually sitting. But I actually knocked the Lone Wolf one in for that bear. I was like, I'm gonna see what this thing will do on this bear.
Can you resharpen those? Will they resharpen up? Does he?
Yeah.
But it's aluminum too, so I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I'm not down in nothing because I don't have enough whatever. But mine's still. It's like any other of the fix, like those Montex, and then I think the Muzzy ones and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I'm shooting the Muzzies.
Yeah, I just find that angle that where it's like 33 or whatever angle.
Yeah,
it was hard for me to get them super sharp. Like they're not razor sharp. Their points are sharp, but they're not like you were shooting, Zach, the iron wheel or the what's them other ones that you shoot that are fixed? Severs.
Oh, the Severs are QAD X's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would shoot I've got I would still shoot the iron wheels if they're in a deep 6, and those arrows I'm shooting are a deep 6. Okay. I really like the iron wheel, man. They fly real. I was impressed with how well they flew with the field tips.
Yes.
If I ever go away from the Muzzies, I think it's the direction I would go.
Yeah. So man, but they're awesome.
They are high dollar, and that's really the only drawback to them is how expensive they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can you never lose. I mean, if you don't lose it, if you can recover your arrow and broadhead, it's never bad. You just resharpen it right back up, and that's what I've noticed about the muzzies too. And I mean, it does take a little more work, like you said. You got to kind of cant your stone a little bit and get it on the right angle. But it's well, that doe I shot last year, I shot her and recovered the arrow and broadhead both, and I thought initially that it was going to be good, right? So I washed it up and I sharpened one blade. And when I rolled it over to do the next blade, I noticed just a tiny little crack in the next blade over, and I was like, "Well, shoot, I can't shoot this thing no more." But I mean, it looked good. It's just that one little crack. I was like, "Sure as I use this thing, it'll fail on me, and I'm not going to take a chance on it." But but it sharpened right back up. I mean, I was impressed how sharp I could get it.
I shot 3 different deer last year with iron wheels, and I didn't have to sharpen them. They're still razors. But the only thing is where they're A2 still, they're not stainless, so they sharpen better, but you gotta keep them clean, and then there's a mineral oil pen.
Yeah.
You keep a little oil on them so they
keep them from rusting up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those the ones I've got, I think I know I told Will about this, but they're the they're not the solid ones. They're the vented ones. Mm-hmm. You can actually order. I got them right here. You can pop that screw out, and you can order the replacement blades and the bleeder blades, 3-pack for $38.
Oh, that ain't bad. I might just do that one. I'm not good at sharpening stuff. I've been practicing.
Are you shooting the solid ones, Church?
Yeah, mine are solid 100 grains. I'm planning on going because I just kept the same arrow setup I had last year. I had enough left over. So I didn't want to spend any more money because I got the lift this year too. Next year I'm gonna change arrows, and then I'm probably gonna go to 125s, and then I'm hoping they're going to make a 125 wide that's solid. Yeah, I think they make a 125 wide that's vented, but that's what I want. That's what I want to try.
Hey, this is a really interesting thing that I've realized with these. So these are 125 grains, and they were grouping. And Will's here. I mean, he watched me shoot them. They were grouping with 100 grain broadheads and 100 grain field points. Yeah, out to 40 yards.
That's what I think with white. I mean, if you're only changing 25 grains, I honestly, like at whitetail distances, as fast as our bows are.
Yeah, with the bows, I think it's the bow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As fast as the bow is, and then all 3 of us obsess over our tunes. I mean, we know like you can pick. Well, I don't know. I've been beating a far out of mine, tracking in the woods. Yeah. So mine might be out of tune now, but it's still whitetail accurate. So. But, I think the bows are just so fast. Until you pass 50 yards, I really don't think you're going to notice a big difference. Right. And even if it is, hell, I probably can't outshoot the difference anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no. We got Tyler's bow set up.
I was going to ask you, how does he like that thing?
Oh, he likes it a whole lot. It's a very fast shooting bow. They got some good things going for them. I do like a couple things on there. They've got it's wild to even think of this, but Bowtech used to have this a while back on some of their cams, but it's got an adjustable back wall, so you can have a spongy back wall or a hard back wall. I do like too on that bow. You can actually change the let off by rotating. That it's almost like there's 2 modules, like a let off module and then a draw length module. It's blew me away to check it out. So you can set it by just loosening the screw and moving it from 70, 75 to 80% let off.
Wow,
that's cool.
Mine is on a 85% let off right now. Thank the Lord.
I think that's what mine is. I can't remember. There's 70 pound moms on it, so I can't remember. I think it's 85 too, though.
That's what they come with. I bumped up to 75s, and probably the first week of that 75 pound draw, I was like, oh no, man, I've screwed up. This thing, if I get a bunch of clothes on, you know how you get sitting in a stand, you get cold and stiff or whatever.
Stiff as a board.
But I shot it, I don't know, 3 days this week, I think, and my body's adjusted to it, I guess. Really, you get used to drawing one weight for so long, but it screwed me for a little while. But before we get off the broadheads, I want to say my only gripe about a vented broadhead is how loud they are downrange.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Whistle.
I posted that that reel not too long ago. I say that's probably a month ago now, and it sounds like a missile coming over top of that camera.
Yeah, that's the way my because I use the iron wheel fletchings.
Yeah.
And they're loud too.
Yeah.
But I'm almost to the point that like it's so fast, like they're hearing the string by the time they hear that thing coming at them. Because my buddy stood behind a tree on my archery range to video it.
Yeah.
And I shot one. It's like you said, it's a freaking missile.
Right.
coming at. It's terrifying. I'd rather
it's
shot by a gun than a bow.
It's
We'll turn you on to some good veins here. We got something you got to try out.
I'm telling you, the iron wheels are awesome. I love those iron wheel veins.
You don't know awesome until you try these things.
I like them too, but I've never in my life seen some as tough as these things are.
Do y'all do 3 or 4 fletch?
I do 3. I think you do 3.
I shoot
no,
4.
You do 4.
Yeah,
Tyler shoots a 4.
I've been shooting a 4 since, I don't know, 22. Whenever we went to Colorado.
I remember y'all talking about them last podcast.
Yeah.
Y'all talking about those veins, how tough they were.
But and if you listen to the podcast, you heard me say this before, but I've never shot a tougher vein. Never.
Yeah.
And I was telling Zach the other day, I was out shooting. He called and we was talking on the phone while I was shooting. And I shoot, like when I'm out in the yard shooting right now, I'll shoot 1 broadhead arrow and 2 field points. And my broadhead arrow is consistently, almost every time I shoot it, blowing through my Glendale buck, right? Mm-hmm. But it's never stripped a vein off. And it shoots through it. Like, if I shoot 20 times, it's blown through it 18 of them. So, awesome. I've never lost one through it. It's crazy how tough they are.
I had a fella shoot one through the leg, the hard plastic leg of the Glendale buck the other day. And I thought, man, there ain't no way. And it did not. I mean, it was the back end of the arrow was still in the leg, and I just pulled it on through. And them dudes they were like they never even bent.
Yeah,
like it didn't even crinkle up or nothing. So,
and then too, I know you fletch your own stuff just like we do. Like they go on super easy.
Yeah.
I never have a problem with them. Like, and I put them on the arrow before, and like the tail end might tilt up just a little bit. I'll take and put just a little extra glue there and just hold it down my finger for a few seconds. And it latches right to it. It's incredible how well they go on.
Yeah, it's it's not a very well known fletching company. I would say that's what Q2I.
Yeah, I got turned on to him. This guy, I was when I was building my V3, I bought it over in Kentucky at this place, and it was before I was really doing a lot with Aaron. I didn't really know him that well and all that, and somebody told me about this guy, so I went over there and he is a top-notch bow tech. He really is. But so I was, picking his brain because I hadn't really dove deep into the whole technical side of arrows and bows. I mean, just the whole 9 yards. But so I was thinking like, well, I'm going to go like 550 or heavier on my arrow. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, he broke it down to me and we did a lot of math and a lot of stuff that I didn't really understand that I've started to understand a little better now, but still not really, whatever. But anyways, I said, well, what kind of vein? I said, cause I've been just shooting blazers, and I said, I bought some tack veins. I bought some of these, that, and he was like, well, here's what I shoot. And he said, and I'll show you why. He took one of his arrows and he took a one that he had fletched for a customer that had blazers on it. And he wrapped his hand around that thing so tight. Like, he's got strong hands anyways. And he twisted the arrow with the fletchings in his hand, right? And 2 out of the 3 blazers came off. Mm-hmm. And he was like, now watch this. Picked up one of his arrows with them Q2Is and did the same exact thing. Same force, same grip, same everything. And not a single one of them, like, anything. They didn't come off. They didn't fold. They didn't nothing. And I was like, oh, man. He said, I'm telling you. He said, this is what I suggest to everybody. He said, now, some people just like to shoot what they want to shoot. He said, but if you're asking me what I would put on my arrows, this right here's what it is. And I've been shooting them ever since then. And I don't. It would take a lot for me to change at this point. Yeah. I mean, they're just a daggone good vein.
In my opinion, they're up there in the top. And like I said, that's what I've got on most of these tack veins. You can throw every single one of them in the garbage.
Yeah.
I seen that Botox guy putting tack veins on the other day, and I started to comment and be like, junk.
Yeah, they're too rigid.
Yeah,
way too rigid.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of them. Now, little known fact about those Q2Is is that is the same that they make all the veins for gold tip arrows.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look up Q2I to try to find them and you can't find them, if you just type in gold tip veins, and this is how I found these. And I told Will, I said I ordered them as gold tip veins because I seen some on some of those kinetic arrows.
Yeah.
And I got on there and looked, and I found them, and they came in a Q2I package, and I said, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
they're top
really
notch.
happy.
If you can't find what you're looking for, I had to call out there last year to get the exact one I was looking for, and it was a lady that they're based out of Oregon, right? I talked to an American lady in Oregon, and she was so super nice, and in 3 days I had them here all the way across the country. You know what I'm saying? So
heck yeah.
That means a lot to me. I know Tyler's a big thing on that.
Yeah, that means a lot to Varda.
Yeah, he's big on that.
I'm surprised he's not ripped all his off and ordered them just because of customer service.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't foresee myself changing anytime soon for sure.
Yeah. Well, Zach, you gonna get to hunt this week coming up or this weekend?
Let's see. I work all weekend, so maybe Monday. I think it's supposed to be pretty chilly Tuesday, Wednesday next week.
Oh yeah.
A good cold front. Another little cold front's moving in, and I might try Tuesday. The next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I should get probably all 3 days. So
good deal.
The next weekend I should. And my buddy's coming over. My buddy from Tennessee, he comes over. He buys us out of state. That's one thing too. I know we're circling back now, but like the closure thing, like my best friend, he's out of Tennessee, and they have like negative deer density where he's at. Like it's awful. So he literally buys his out of state license for annual the whole year. Well over close to $350, and he comes over here and stays. This is his room.
Oddly enough, I started that group. I don't know if you saw it on Facebook or not about just kind of like to organize. I forget what it's called now. It's reopening the Jefferson National Forest or something like that.
Yeah,
he joined it and then friended me on there. He was commenting and he posted on there and stuff. I didn't recognize him at first, and I clicked on his profile when he added me. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's Zach's buddy. I remember him."
Yeah. And you talking about the sword, the short one?
Yeah.
And but yeah, he comes over here and hunts, but he comes over tomorrow evening, and he'll stay here all weekend. So hopefully he'll get him one. He's not got one with his bow yet. So
Oh yeah.
I'm dying for him to get one. So he went to a .75 setup last year, and I think he's running the latitude sticks, and so hopefully he'll get him a bow deer. And brown it's down for him, so he's got to get that one off his back.
Yeah,
we're trying to hunting.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he didn't start hunting until like well into his adult years. After we become buddies, I was the one that actually I took him hunting, rifle hunting, and he got his first deer. I was with him, and then I took his son hunting here, and was with him and his son when his son got his first deer with a rifle.
That's pretty cool.
So, I'm really hoping he'll get a deer, and I'm on day shift now, so if he does get one towards the evening tomorrow, I can come help him get it out.
Yeah.
Will's determined that if it's brown, it's down for Tyler.
It ought to be.
I told Zach a while ago. We was talking about. You heard it here first. We're going to Ohio Sunday, right?
Yeah, looking forward
spending
to
a few days up there. But I told Zach, I said if Tyler lets a buck walk in Ohio, that's decently shootable because you only get one tag up there, right?
Yeah.
But still, if he lets a decently shootable buck walk up there, I'm gonna take his platform from him. He's just gonna have to hunt off the ground or something.
Slice his bowstrings.
That joker, I'm telling you, I took him in there last year and set him up in the spot, and I said, "Listen, he's learning, right, and we're helping him along." And I about had to take him to a stand because I won't say he's afraid of the dark, but it's his first few years hunting. He don't feel comfortable by himself in the dark. So I took him over and showed him where the stand was, and he got up in there and I was just on the backside of the ridge from him. Air miles or air distance, I probably wasn't 75 or 100 yards maybe. If he shot a deer, I probably could have heard it. I could have heard the arrow hit. But he texted me like 11 o'clock that morning, and I was like, well, what have you seen? He said, well, I saw a few does and I let a 6-pointer walk. I was like, what are you doing?
What?
And he was like, well, I just didn't think it was big enough to shoot. He said, y'all wouldn't have shot it. I said, if I hadn't ever killed a deer before, I would have shot it.
I said, dude,
I've killed a pile of little bucks.
Yeah.
But
I could fill my truck bed up twice with the spikes that I've killed in my day.
Hey, listen, my first bow buck I killed last year, that little 5-point, wherever it's at, right there. And I was proud as I was that big one right there with a rifle.
Yeah.
You know, it's like because I was after that big one, and I watched him walk over the hill, and then that little 5-point walked out, and I said, man, I'm 2.5 miles back. Do I want to kill this thing back here? And I said, hell, I ain't killed a bow buck yet.
Yeah, that's right.
I said, if he comes in and gives me a good shot, I will. And it wasn't 2 minutes later, he was standing broadside at 20. I said, sorry, buddy.
See you later.
Hey, I will tell you, he's getting back. He when we went Saturday, he took off to his stand and got in there no problem.
Well, that's good. He
did good.
I noticed a big difference in him in turkey season. Even like you know, he's learning a lot. You know, every time we go, he's picking stuff up. And so, it'll be a heck of a celebration the first time that dude smokes a deer of any kind, doe, fawn. I don't care what it is, dude. No joke. This year, you know, he killed his second turkey this year, right? And it was just a jake. I mean, it wasn't, you know, like. It wasn't anything that anybody else would celebrate, but I was tore all to pieces, man. We FaceTimed Zach, and I was shaking like a leaf. And Tyler was like, "Man, I swear he's more tore up than I am."
Hey, I get
fired me up.
Over anything, man. I love the pursuit. I love the game, man. I got a video of me last year shooting a doe during deer camp, and I'm always calm during the shot. As soon as that shot breaks, man, but you can see my hat. I start shaking. As soon as I shot
Buddy,
man, I get pumped up, man.
You should have seen how bad I was tore up when that bear came in the other day.
Oh, his video. Wait till he posts it to YouTube, man. You'll see it. It's funny. His legs are shaking. And I'm like, dang, look at that shake, boys. Yeah. No joke. If it didn't do that to me, I wouldn't do it. If it didn't fire me up like that, I would quit hunting altogether. Yeah. As much as I love to do it, I would quit it. The day that I shoot a deer and I'm just kind of ho-hum about it, that's the day I sell my stuff and start doing something else. Yeah. And I mean, I hope and pray that day never comes. I don't foresee it coming, but I mean, that's and you know, nobody else would understand it. You know, y'all do because you do it the same way I do, but it I don't know. It's another type of feeling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That deer I killed last year, I said, I was sitting there after I shot it, and I was amped up. I started patting my hands together. I told somebody later, I said, I felt like that old dude said, I'm going to give my own self a high five. Yeah. But to that, Tyler, when he seen them deer Saturday, he texted me and Will. He said, "Boys, I don't know how in the world y'all do it when you shoot one. I didn't even get my bow up, and I just tore all the pieces."
Yeah.
Hey, I get so worked up if I hear anything and I don't think it's a squirrel. I put my bow in my lap.
Yeah.
I don't want to risk anything. Like this evening where I was only in there for like an hour 15. My bow it went in my bow holder just long enough for me to make sure my tether and everything was tied on, and then I put it in my lap and I sat with it in my lap the whole time.
Yeah.
I try not to risk anything.
I tend to stay pretty calm through the shot. You know, it's like don't get me wrong, I prefer when it happens, you know, quick and snap of a finger stop it.
Yeah, you don't have to watch it for 100 yards.
Right. But if I do have to watch it for a little while, like I tend to stay pretty calm. But soon, like you said, as soon as that shot breaks, and it's whether it's a good hit or not, man, I've turned around and held onto the tree before. Because I get so tore up and I'm shaking so hard that I'm like, man, I don't know if the stand's going to fall or what. And I'll just grab hold and hug onto the tree just in case.
I almost always grab because I'm afraid I'm going to step off the stand.
Yeah. You just get so fired up, man. It's a special thing.
Yeah, that I tell you what gets me every single time is I tell myself this in my head. I'm like, and I did this Tuesday. I said, "Don't drop your bow," because after I shoot, I feel like I'm gonna get so tore up. I'm gonna drop my bow. So I'm like, as soon as that thing goes off, I'll reach and put it back on the hook. Yeah. I always freak out. I get back there and I'm like, all right, don't drop your bow. Don't drop your bow.
Hey, I've shot a handful of deer and like hit them, and then get to thinking about it afterwards and be like, man, did I even look through my peep? You know, you're so unconsciously doing what you're there to do, that you just, I totally, everything else is, you know, somewhere else. And that's the beauty of it, really. I mean, I don't know. I've never done anything else like it.
I'm calling it though. I think he's got a really good chance of going up here and shooting a really nice deer.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first cold snap that Ohio's got. It's been, you probably don't keep up with it, Church, but it's been hotter up there this year than it has been here. Oddly enough,
it was hot.
And they're 3 hours north of us, and it's been hotter there than it has been here. And this is the first real cold snap that they've had. And
it's going to be.
Yeah, I fully expect we went a couple years ago, and other than Zach, I don't think any of us saw deer. And so I fully expect that we should be on some deer. Yeah.
What day y'all going?
Sunday.
We're gonna leave Sunday.
Heck yeah.
Supposed to the high for Monday and Tuesdays in like the mid-50s.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah.
Lows in the 30s, mid-30s or so. So
that's awesome.
It should be really, really good.
Heck yeah. Well, I can't help you come drag one of them, but I definitely want to see it if you get one.
we're gonna either do good or trash a place. I can promise you that.
That's exactly right.
That's the way I am. I'm either gonna find them or blow them out. One of the two.
Yeah.
We're going to close to where the road show was, not the same county, but close up there. That's where we're headed for deer camp this year. We're going to go the first week in November. So.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Good deal.
That'll be.
We might head up that way later on in the year, maybe. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see how we do in Ohio. If we can kill a few deer up there, which their season, heck, it stays open until like February.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if you got some time off in November there, it's open in black powder, but I think Andrew and Sword, I think they're going to take their black powders and their bows, but they asked me, and I said, nope, I'm burning the boats, baby. The only thing I'm taking is the bow.
That's what I love it. I love it.
I mean, I've had more. I could have killed, 2 or 3 deer like that one out there with a muzzleloader if I'd have just took it. You know what I mean? But I can't help it. And I've not killed a pile of deer either. Like because I didn't get real heavy into it until I was older. So I got obsessed. I just can't help it. That's just what I want to do.
I tell myself I'm going to do that every year, and then it's either from frustration or just like wanting to do something different. I always pull that black powder out. I do. I'm a sucker for my black powder. I
this area, man, I've noticed a lot of guys in this area just love black powder.
Yeah.
That's what happened that year with this one is I got so frustrated because I couldn't get a buck within bow range, and then it was literally the last day of the last day of rifle, which was in December, and I went up there and he was the first buck that year to walk in the bow range, and I shot him at bow range with a 30-30.
That's how it always happens. Every time. The big buck I killed a couple years ago, I killed it with my black powder, and he was 35 yards. I could have smoked him with my bow, and that's why after when Dad came around, we celebrated and had a little moment or whatever, and then I was like, if I had my bow, I could have smoked him with my bow. He was like, well, why didn't you carry both? I ain't that far, and I'm like, can you imagine trying to juggle 2 weapons in one tree stand? Like, there's no way.
That buck I killed last year was right at 30 yards too. Yeah, so it was actually just above a bow stand that was still in the tree too. So. But I didn't carry a gun too much last year, just a few times.
I will say I carried my bow through most of late muzzleloading. Once I got that lift in November, I carried it pretty much the rest of the year.
Well, I didn't even own a muzzleloader until last season. I bought one right before late season. I think it was like during rifle or during late bow. I bought a muzzleloader and just threw irons and just with iron sights on it. That's all I'm running. And I took it out during late season. But what I did is I carried like a backpack with me, like I could pack one out. And I just scouted and I just still hunted, and I dropped a bunch of cameras in late season. And then that's what's given me most of my intel for this season. So that's kind of what I did with that, is just use it more of a scout. Like I was basically scouting, but I just a muzzleloader with me. So
yeah,
that's probably what I'll do this year. I ain't even cleaned it. I probably need to clean it. But
that's what I do a lot of times, even in early muzzleloading. Because you're kind of getting into that pre-rut stage where they're starting to move a little bit, and I'll put it on my back and take very minimal anything in my backpack or whatever, and just walk, and still hunting. Up until this year, I really not had a pile of cameras to drop around, but I think I've got 15 now, and so I'll probably do that some this year. But now that I've got my lightweight system kind of ironed out, like it wouldn't bother me a bit to just pack a saddle, 2 sticks, and a platform, or even if I don't take the platform, I can hunt right off the top of the stick, and just hop from spot to spot to spot and get up in a tree, So I might do that some this year too. I ain't really. I've thought about it. I'm gonna see how it works out in practice, But
well, it's going to be a good weekend, good week next week. So we'll keep you guys posted on everything, and hopefully we have a good trip up. First, if not, then it'll be the first of a few this year. So
yeah. If I don't kill one this week, there's a lot of weeks left.
That's right.
Will, you got any concluders before we log out here?
I mean, I'm thankful that National Force is back open. I'll tell you that was a big relief the other day when that press release came out, and I said it yesterday on the stories, but I can't thank the people enough that made the calls and sent the emails. And I mean, I did that stuff myself, but it took everybody that did it to get it back for us. And I mean, congrats to all of us, really, because that was a big deal to get that reversed that quick. Yeah.
Church, you got anything?
Hey, just be thinking about the people in West North Carolina and everybody out here this season. I would say good luck, but I'll say make your own luck. So
there you go.
Hope everybody gets a digging.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on with us tonight. I know me and Will tend to do these late, so anymore, but appreciate you coming on after you got done hunting.
Hey,
the face paint's a nice touch.
That's what I said.
On purpose. I come home and eat some cold spaghetti that I had to heat up, and hopped in here on it. So it was worth it, man.
I'll say we'll keep you guys posted. I don't know how the service will be up there where we're at for the most part, but we'll do what we can to keep you posted. And
I will say it's a little better where we're camping this time as opposed to last time.
Okay,
there's a little better service at the new campground, so we should be able to post a few things anyway.
Looking forward to that, and appreciate you guys listening. And as always, follow along with us on our social medias on there, and we'll put some good stuff for you to watch.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Appreciate everybody listening. Y'all have a good evening.